All right, so I think we're gonna get started. And I just wanted to introduce myself. My name's Hannah Cranston. I'm the Assistant Director of Campus Life for Student Centers and Student Involvement. In SCSI, Student Centers and Student Involvement, we oversee the clubs and organizations on campus, our operations of both student centers, orientation, and a few other things. But we're excited to be here to talk about involvement on campus. Even though I work in the area, I am not the expert. That's why I have student panelists here to give you the information because they are living and breathing the involvement on campus. So what I'm going to do is have them introduce themselves. I have a few questions to ask them to give you guys information, but please know you can use the Q&A feature to ask questions. I will be monitoring that and having the students answer them live the best way we can. And then at the end, if there are any questions that aren't answered, I'll provide some contact information that you can get in contact with me directly, and I'll make sure that your answers are, your questions are answered. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna jump, I'm gonna give it to Shannon. You can go introduce yourself.
Thank you. I'm Shannon. I am a junior media studies major here at Quinnipiac. I'm originally from Marshfield, Massachusetts, and on campus, I'm a part of the Student Programming Board and Q Spirit.
I can go next. My name is Charles. I am a senior nursing major here at Quinnipiac from Bridgewater, New Jersey. It's pork, not Teller ham. It's a sub, not a hoagie. I am currently the president of the Quinnipiac Student Nurses Association. I'm the lieutenant of our brand new Rescue Campus EMS program, and I have done some work with Relay for Life. So that's kind of what I do here.
I can go next. Good morning, everyone. My name is Amber Pagan. I am originally from Brooklyn, New York, but I currently moved to Milford, Connecticut. I am a junior political science major and law and society minor at Quinnipiac, and I am the multicultural and identity senator of the Student Government Association. And then I'm also involved in the Quinnipiac Mock Trial Association and Leading Women of Tomorrow, who is becoming an official organization on campus.
I can go next. Hi, everyone. My name is Kara. I'm a senior in the Physician Assistant Program. I'm from Berlin, Connecticut. I am the co-director of the big event, which is our largest day of community service on campus. I'm also the vice president of Habitat for Humanity and the elderly co-chair of the Community Action Project, which is another community service organization on campus.
All right, that leaves me. I'm Nicola. I'm a senior health science studies major on a PT track. I'm originally from Portland, Maine, but currently I live in Meriden, Connecticut. I am a supervisor with Intramurals. I worked my way up. I was a statistician for 3 years, and I've seen a lot of change in the intramural department, so I'm really happy to talk about all of that.
Awesome. So I'm going to jump and ask everyone a question, and then you guys can answer the best you can. Just unmute yourself if you want to be the first to respond. So it's important for our families who are on the call right now to understand how students can get involved and participate in our organizations and activities on campus. So can everyone talk a little bit about the different ways they can learn more about what's going on?
So there is an involvement fair at the beginning of the fall semester. All of the clubs and organizations on campus come out, line the quad with tables, and everyone gets to walk around. This year we did an involvement week, kind of spread out how many people were around any of the tables at any one point. So it's super awesome. We had different days based on kind of the different themes of all the organizations. And students could come, walk around, give their email addresses, and then they be put on the email list. And then you could also find all of the organizations and clubs on DoUQU, which is a website where you can actually request like access to any of the clubs that you want to participate in.
I would say too, if you're not sure if you want to join anything or you just want to like learn more at first, Instagram and other social media sites are a really big thing. Honestly, if you just typed in like Quinnipiac and then followed by like the topic that you want to go for, like if you wanted to do intramurals or like community service, like stuff will just pop up. And you can just click on those, go through. All of them should be public, so you can just view all of our posts, and they should stay pretty active.
Yeah, and just in case parents also, want to know what is going on campus, I know that there's the virtual quad. So that's another resource that, parents and families can definitely use to see what their children can like see on campus and what they can get involved with. Specifically for multicultural and identity organizations, there's QU Culture Weekly, which is actually for now just on the Quinnipiac Instagram, but I know in the future we're going to be creating a website. That way, sometimes for certain courses, you are required to go to some multicultural events. So if students do want to go check out the website or get a calendar alert, I know we're also doing that, then they're going to be provided with those resources as well.
We also what's called the Cork app, CORQ app. It's on the App Store. It shows all the events that are going around Quinnipiac. It can be downloaded by the student or the family. It's a orange app with a big Q on it. I think it's a C now. And it goes and shows you all the events, student org, and as well as sorority and fraternity life is on there. And we also have the Bobcat Bulletin. It's every week. We get an email normally on Mondays or Sundays of the week of events by all clubs about what's going on around school. So students or parents tell your students to check your emails because there's a lot of emails that get sent out about different clubs, different meetings, different events. SPB is always on there. QSMA, which I'm involved with, we hold events underneath the South Lot tent as well as other orgs. We just did like a Tide blanket drive where we donated blankets to some senior elderly homes. So there's a lot of stuff to get involved with.
I also want to touch on a website, sorry.
After you.
So we have IM League, so just like IM League, so it stands for Intramural Leagues. And through that website, you can also sign up for different fitness classes that we offer. And this year, most of them or all of them are virtual. And that's super easy too. You just have to have an IM Leagues account, which you can log in through like your school stuff. And then you just sign up for whatever class you want. There's yoga, bar, like stuff like that. And I think the fitness center is also using it to like rent machines and stuff like that. So, but if you want any more information on that, Hannah can put you in touch with me after, or anyone else in the department, and we should be able to help you out.
And a big one that's catered just to Quinnipiac students is DUQU. It's like a complete website of all the events that are happening on campus. It's where you have to submit to even get your event approved. So everything is on there available for students to search.
Awesome. Yeah, and just a little bit more about DUQU is that your student can log in with their Quinnipiac credentials. And if they want to join an organization, they can click and join right on DUQU, and the president and other executive board members of the organization do get an alert. So they do see that someone is interested in joining their area. I do have a question on here, but we will. Oh, Charles, you are on it.
Sorry.
Thank you so much. So I wanted to ask all of you, can students still join your organizations and still participate in your activities? And if so, how can they do that?
So for intramurals, we do have certain registration windows just because we have to have all the teams in at certain times so we can bracket it and everything like that. So we can't accept any more new teams currently. However, you can be added to an already existing team. You could email Brian Cable, who's in charge of intramurals. He's my boss, and he can kind of try to fit you into a team that already exists. So you can sign up as a free agent. That's a great way to meet new people and make new friends as well. Right now, we're offering 4v4 beach volleyball, 10v10 slow pitch softball. And then we've also had miscellaneous cornhole and mini golf tournaments. And there's different virtual events happening as well that you can always sign up for.
For SGA, for the Student Government Association, that is more of an election-based organization. So each year we hold elections, which just ended last month. So students have the opportunity to run for class president, VP, or any other specialized position that they really want to see changes on campus with. So for specifically for that, you can't really be part of the executive board, but you are given the opportunity to participate in amazing and really fun and interactive events such as Bobcat Fridays, where that's more on social media. So every Friday, students at Quinnipiac wear their QU colors, which is usually gold and blue, and they just, embrace their QU spirit through social media. And SGA always has great prizes for anyone who really goes out of their way to really show their pride for the Quinnipiac schools. So we have a lot of opportunities, especially this year, since a lot of students are doing remote. So we're making sure that everyone still has those needs and resources to still participate in many events.
For SPB, we hold general board meetings every Monday at 4 p.m. And for students who have class during that time, we always record it. I'm pretty sure we're putting them up on like our Instagram link. Don't know about that, but I have all the recordings. I send them out. And if students want to get more involved, they can help us out with setting up at events or even helping run our events on the weekends. And as well as they can join our page on VUQ and therefore get in the email list.
So for QSMA, the Nursing Association, all nursing students are automatically in our organization. And then if other students want to be involved, we have a lot of health science majors or PA majors as well, because we do a lot of community service projects that relate directly to healthcare. We give stuff to senior homes, especially during COVID. We donated things to the nurses on the front line. So all you really have to do is email us, join our DU account, and then you get onto our email list right away. You can email me directly, your students can email me directly, and they can be added to our list. For Rescue EMS, at this time, we do require you to be an EMT. We're not necessarily a student org because we are under the Department of Public Safety, so I always like to preference that, but it is something that the student can get involved with. We are actually looking into adding it just to be first responders, so it's less of a class that you have to take, which hopefully will get some funding next semester to get people certified and get people on with us as well. I no longer am a part of Relay for Life because being on 3 e-boards kind of was too much, so I did stop that, but I can still talk about it. Relay for Life does hold their elections at the end of the spring for the following event, because their event normally falls in the fall, but they do hold e-board and G-board meetings every couple of weeks to go over how the event for Relay is going to work. They did just hold the Relay at the end of September. It was a virtual event, but so elections for that will be coming up soon. Yeah, and if you go on DUQU and you find a club that you're interested in, the primary contact is always listed. So just email them, and that's probably be the quickest way, because sometimes there's a lag with joining the organization and getting approved. So if you just email them directly, that's probably the best way in.
For the community service organization, so for big event, we have already secured our e-board and committees for this semester. But next semester is the actual big event. So hopefully we're going to send out registration and stuff like that, and everyone can sign up. Usually we get like 1,500 volunteers. We're hoping to do kind of like a hybrid big event in the spring. So we'll send out emails about that. You can sign up with your roommates, friends, and you can sign up individually as well. And for Habitat for Humanity and Community Action Project, if you look on DUQU, and you can either email me or ask to be a part of the organization on DUQU, you can be put on our email list, and we send out community service events every week, updates on what we're doing and what we have spots for.
Thank you, everyone. Go ahead, Shannon.
No. For the Quinnipiac Spirit Group, we've kind of have things on pause right now just because games and sports are obviously on hold due to COVID. But we are trying to still meet, and we have a lot of stuff going on with our Instagram, which I'm going to send in the chat now. And we also are partnered with SGA for the Bobcat Fridays to just promote spirit on campus during these tough times.
Thank you, Shannon. I know that some of you have started, you mentioned that you have meetings, and I didn't know if someone wants to talk a little bit about what people's organization meetings kind of look like this semester, and how students can still participate in those meetings.
Well, this year, I'm sorry, Charles.
No, go ahead, Amber. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. So this year, because obviously there are COVID regulations, we do host our meetings for our organizations online via Zoom. But with that said, I know SPB and SGA and even other organizations do host events in person. Obviously, we're going to continue on with the socially distancing and all these different, regulations that we do have to continue on with university policy. But we still host these events such as, trivia night, or other fun events that SPB definitely throws that has a big outcome for a lot of students. A lot of students do love to come to these events, but I would say that for now meetings are going to be remotely, just because we do have, again, students who are remote doing it from home, and they also want to participate in the meetings. And then we also have students in person who can definitely go to the events. So I think that there's a balance where we are going to be hosting some in-person events, and then we are going to be hosting more virtual events, just so everyone has that opportunity to still, know what's going on. But with that said, we also send the recordings to everyone's email addresses as well.
To kind of bounce off that, some events are being held on Zoom and some events are being held socially distant, especially in South Lot 10. I just got up real quick because I wanted to pick up my stuffed animal that I made at SPB the other night. It was Friday night, and me and my roommate went. And it was create your own kit, so everyone had their own little box, so no one touched it but you. You went over, you grabbed your box, you sat down at your own table with your own roommates, and you had your own little stuffing, and you opened up the back side and you stuffed in the stuffing. So there are events in person that are happening, but they are limited capacity, and you have to sign up in advance. And we also use it as a contact tracing to make sure you know who's there and stuff like that. So QSMA personally is doing a mix of both. Some of our meetings are online, some of our meetings are in person if we can meet the regulations and social distancing and make sure there's no shared objects and stuff like that. So yeah.
Thank you. So we do have a question of talking about how the impact of COVID has challenged our different organizations. And before I let any of you answer, I do want to just let all the attendees know that our office has created guidelines for programming, and all of the organizations do have them, and they are following them. So when they do submit their event on DUQU, we review it and make sure that all the guidelines are in place and everyone's being safe. Like Charles said, all our organizations have to do attendance, and that's for contact tracing. We're doing the best we can and making sure that we know where all of our students are at any time, just in case we do need to trace back any cases. But as they were starting to say, is that we still are doing in-person and virtual events to still provide that experience. But I'll let any of you want to talk about how COVID has challenged your different areas and kind of how you've overcome those, or what looks different for their students.
So in the intramural department, it was a little bit of a process, so we needed to get our sports approved by like Hannah and up even further before we were allowed to do anything in person. So in the beginning of the semester, we were doing all virtual events. We since have gotten 4v4 volleyball and 10v10 softball approved. For volleyball, there's no net play, so we're trying to keep the teams completely distant. In that sense, masks are worn for all sports at all times. Me and my coworkers have become kind of mask police to make sure everyone's keeping them on unless they're like taking a drink of water or something like that. We also wipe down equipment in between different games and stuff. So for softball, each team gets their own game ball. At the end of the game, we wipe those down. We have bats they can use. We wipe down those bats, and each team only takes their own bats. Like they don't switch in between the game. And then volleyball, we wipe down the ball in between sets, different things like that. Off the top of my head, that's what I've got. But if I remember anything, I can come back on and say it.
For the community service organizations, so it is a little difficult for us because usually we would go off campus and go to nursing homes or different areas. We'd go to Habitat builds and do that. So we're doing a lot of on-campus stuff instead. We made wheelchair bags to donate to the nursing home. We've also done different things for Habitat for Humanity for the different homeowners that are new. So we made we painted pumpkins for them and dropped those off so they can have some fall decorations. We're making blankets for animal shelters and a couple other things like that. All of our events are on campus and they are at limited persons. So we do have to get registration ahead of time, but we usually have like spreadsheets and everything that everyone can sign up on.
For SCB, it's definitely been a curveball. It's really made us rethink like how we plan events as programmers. And we really had to like scratch everything we knew from the past and kind of like start over and look at everything with these guidelines. A big hit of events for us was food events. Like we had a whole event dedicated to just eating chicken nuggets last year. And obviously due to COVID reasons, we can't just be serving people chicken nuggets. But so the food restriction is something we've learned to cope with. We're working with QU Dining now to have individually wrapped things, which is good because people love free food. And then also just the basics, like making sure everyone's wearing a mask, make sure people are checking in and pre-registering for events to keep contact tracing at like in line. And then we've been doing a lot of trivia in the tent and all of our events, mostly outside in the tent right now. We make sure to wipe down all the tables before people get there, and then we make sure to wipe down all the tables when people leave, just to make sure we're not contaminating anything.
I was going to say that for SGA, I know it definitely has been different from the past because we're always used to, being involved with the Quinnipiac community and making sure that we're talking to the students, talking to the faculty. But I do think that it also gave us an opportunity to come up with fun and unique events. Like I think it's called Midnight Madness, where people go out and do different like challenges with sports, and we usually like decorate the entire campus with different challenges, such as maybe playing basketball or doing something with your friends. So I think that we're always making sure that we have all these new initiatives, but again that they're following the COVID regulations, but also giving freshmen the opportunity to still have that college experience that they were definitely looking forward. And I know the Mock Trial Association, for example, where usually doing tournaments at other universities like UConn or Yale, but this year everything does have to be virtual. So I know we have our tournament next weekend. So that's going to be a new experience for us, but we're still practicing really hard and we're working with other universities to know how we can definitely, just make sure that we're still getting everything that we want to get done, but in a safe way.
So we do have a question, Shannon, for you. It's it's saying to tell
my mom.
tell us,
It's my
Mom.
mom.
Oh, hi. Kind of how, and I think a lot of people can talk about this, but how are we inviting our students in and making them feel welcomed while keeping, us socially distant? And what does that kind of look like now?
I mean, I think it all comes down to how we market our events. Like we obviously want to have as many people be able to come to our events, but due to like restrictions of socially distance and like venue restrictions, it's hard. But I just keep sending emails through the QSCB email, and I'm just like, come to this meeting, like it's gonna be a lot of fun. Or like I make sure I send like setup times. I say like who's gonna be there from like e-board, so people know they'll have a friendly face. But it all comes down to just like, even in masks, you gotta have the smile eyes, just being welcoming, especially like none of us had really personal interactions over quarantine and through when we were sent home. So I think everyone's just cherishing the time that we have like face-to-face contact.
With that said, I would definitely add that we formed another community online because I think that social media has definitely given us that platform to connect with freshmen, to connect with all like the different students on campus, because I think whether it's the SGA Instagram or the SPB Instagram, I think a lot of freshmen are using that as a place for them to get all their information, even if that's, from their orientation leaders sending them all these different events that are going on. I think that social media has definitely given us that opportunity to communicate everything that's going on campus. And in addition to that, we're also using, our emails to let them know that, this is going on today. This is an opportunity that you can go to. So we're constantly communicating with them. And I think that that has definitely given them, that chance to participate in all these things that they didn't know existed before. So it is obviously challenging this year because there are different things that we're adapting to. But I would say that, we as a university have been providing students with a lot of resources. We have 146 organizations on campus. And I know there's a lot of new orgs, joining in and making sure that everyone has that voice and that, chance to actually participate in whatever they want to do. And even if there's an organization that you don't see on campus, like we give you the chance to start a new one. I know Campus Life and student orgs, they definitely work with students who want to see some changes on campus or anything different. So, we provide everyone with those resources that they need in order to, again, have that college experience that people look forward to.
Bouncing off Amber, I'd like to say that obviously it's hard getting all these emails. Like we have Zoom fatigue, we have email fatigue. Like my email goes ding every 10 minutes, and it's a new email from a Quinnipiac, from a club, from the COVID. So Tom Elliott, he's our new CXO this year. He's really working hard to kind of find ways to get rid of that Zoom fatigue and that email fatigue. He actually is meeting with students on Wednesdays. He has 10-hour sessions. So if your student has any concerns about how do I get involved, or I have this idea, I encourage you to tell your students to email Tom Elliott. He is so willing to meet with people. I'm a part of our COVID health ambassadors here on campus. So we meet with him every other week and we go over ideas that we hear from students. And he loves to sit down. He'll offer to buy you lunch, and he'll sit there and he'll talk to you. So he's a great guy to reach out to too if you have any concerns about anything. We get it. Hearing your email ding every day, seeing all the emails, your Instagram post, it gets exhausting. So we're really working as student leaders to kind of figure out how we can present this information in an easier way. We're doing a lot of pictures. We have posters hanging up in the above the cafeteria. We have posters there. We have 4 poster boards in the student center. I believe that there are flyers everywhere posted. North Haven has 4 posters when you walk in the main entrance, and New York Hill has poster boards as well. So I know our club's trying to post stuff there as well, but sometimes the emails just get deleted. So we're trying to do other ways to present our events as well. So it's out there, the information.
Thank you. And I just want to say that our office really works with the organizations too to help them with other icebreakers they can do on Zoom, so students can kind of like know each other through the screen. Or we do encourage organizations to do bonding within the guidelines so that they can meet their members face to face with 6 feet apart. We know it's hard, and we know that especially first year and transfer students coming in, this is a different world. But our organization, they are hungry for members. They want you to join their organizations. So I feel like within 48 hours, if your student clicks like join on DUQU, they're going to get contact from the organization, which I think is really great because it doesn't leave a lot of time in between for the student to be waiting. And it's just a click away to be joining right now. So I definitely still encourage your students to be going on DUQU, going through, just looking at all the different clubs and organizations that we have to offer. And if they click join, that doesn't mean they have to be a part of the organization. That can mean they just want to learn more about it or get the information sent to them. Like our student organizations, they aren't hurt by that. They know themselves, they probably were involved in a lot going on, and then they kind of find where their place is. But I wanted to make sure. Oh, thank you, Charles. Yes. Tom Ellett is our new Chief Student Experience Officer. That is a new position at Quinnipiac, and he really oversees the experience outside the classroom while working with our new provost to make sure that they do match and that what they're doing outside the classroom is also going to help them inside the classroom. He is amazing, and I really do encourage students and families to email him if you have any questions about it. He's great. He's already met with a bunch of my students that I work with directly, and they've really created a good relationship. And he is hosting some of his own events with a committee for students, faculty, and staff so that we can also see our students in person. All right, let's see.
Can I just add something quickly?
Yeah, go ahead.
So Intramurals, because we didn't know how this semester was going to look, we didn't hire any incoming officials. So we are severely understaffed. And so Brian is opening it up. If you have federal work study, I encourage you guys to reach out and apply. I'm pretty sure applications can be found on MyQ under student employment. And you should be able to see that the intramural department is hiring officials. So you'd be officiating volleyball and softball right now. And there's all those trainings, so you can come in with no experience and be completely fine. We train all of our staff. We provide uniforms. You get a t-shirt that says Quinnipiac Intramurals Official with staff on the back. We have electronic whistles this year so that we aren't removing our masks or anything. So those are really cool. You just press a button and it sounds like a real whistle. So those are fun. But yeah, I definitely encourage it. It's really fun. The whole staff is pretty much a family. We're all students, all of us. There's a group of graduate students that kind of oversees us, but all of us are Quinnipiac students, and that's another great way to meet people, get involved. I've been here for 4 years, and so I've known everyone here. It's really great. And next semester, we're hoping to have more on-campus options. We'll see how it all goes, but we are trying to prepare for that, so we need more staff. So definitely reach out.
The cornhole tournaments are also really fun.
And you win t-shirts. If you win a game or if you win that tournament, you get championship t-shirts. So it's the intramural champion, and you only get those if you win the whole thing. Like if you win playoffs for volleyball or softball. So a lot of people participate in intramurals for those free t-shirts. So definitely reach out for those.
Yes, our students, we are still giving out free stuff at Quinnipiac. Our organizations are definitely still giving out free stuff for students. So make sure your students are going to those events because we definitely have a lot going on. Just like Charles showed his little owl, like we got a lot of free stuff that students can get. That's awesome. All right. Free is good. Yes, free is good. I'm just going in the Q&A. I love, Shannon, I love your family and all the questions we have going on. But I like this question. It says, you know, if I am a first year using one word, what would you say to entice me to join your organization or get involved? That's kind of fun. I think this would be, if you guys want to take a second to think about it.
Extravaganza. Drop the mic.
This is a tough one.
Yeah, one word is hard.
I'm gonna go with community because I think that could apply to all of our organizations and all of our extracurriculars because wherever you end up, you definitely can feel that Quinnipiac community sense there. So that would be my word.
I'm gonna go with entertainment because no matter, this accounts for all of us. I feel like we all have fun organization meetings.
I'll go service, you know, kind of is in the name. It's a two-parter, community service, but I'll just hit service.
I love it. That's great. All right. So just make sure if you guys have any last minute questions, throw them in the Q&A. We'll make sure that we let, them know about the Teletubbies too, Shannon, because that is one of the questions we have going on here. But I'd also love, before we wrap up, for everyone to provide just a piece of advice for students that still want to get involved and find their place at Quinnipiac.
I'd say definitely don't be afraid to like go out and look on DUQU or go to events that you may not have or you may have heard through email or friends or something like that, because it'll be that one event, that one time that you go to that you find like a great friend or you find an organization you really want to be a part of. So, grab your roommate or you can go by yourself. That's how I found a couple of clubs on campus. So it really is a great time to just be open to anything on campus because it's always a lot of fun.
Going off what Kara said, definitely putting yourself out there. You can find so many opportunities you would have never thought you'd put yourself into, like being a Teletubby at hockey games. I just went out on a whim and went to the tryouts and ended up meeting one of my best friends, and now she's my roommate. And it's such a crazy, awesome experience. The Teletubbies are at every hockey game, and it's a bit tough now that hockey's kind of postponed. We don't know the fate of the Teletubbies right now, and we obviously haven't been able to hold tryouts because we aren't sure if they're going to be in this year.
I just like to say is all it takes is one person. If you meet that one person, that could change your experience at Quinnipiac, because that one person will show you another person who will show you another person who will show you 5 other clubs that you might be interested in. I feel like Quinnipiac as a whole is a very inviting community. There's a lot of people, like the people on this panelist, who are very outgoing people. So if you're someone who's a little bit shy, a little bit quieter, find that one person who will take you under the wing and take you to go get an owl at SPB. Like my roommate didn't want to go. I dragged him here and then he had a great time. So like find someone that will just take you with them, and you'll have a great time here over your time.
Yeah, following on Charles, I definitely say like take advantage of all the amazing opportunities that you're going to be offered throughout Quinnipiac, because like I think I speak for all of us when like freshman year, like we've grown so much through these like events. Like I know SPB has definitely formed a big part of that, like Shannon's a part of that. And I think that it's such amazing, like to just go to these events and know that from one meeting, you can definitely like form like your best friend for college. Like from one meeting, you can meet your roommate. Like all these events, they're more than just a moment of interaction. Like they're actually things that form part of your memories throughout college. And it's just really amazing for people to just go out there and, even if you have like a shy personality, like believe me, if you go out to these events, like they're gonna take you out of your comfort zone and they're gonna definitely help you grow as a student. And that's the wonderful part about Quinnipiac, is that we're not a huge university like UConn where, you don't really get to know like so many people, and we're not too small like Fairfield where you see the same people. Like we're a medium-sized school where you get the opportunity to have that change of seeing different people, but then at the same time, you see the people who make you feel comfortable, who make you feel at home. And that's the whole part of forming this amazing, Quinnipiac community, is the fact that you're giving this amazing opportunity to explore and grow throughout your years at college.
Yeah, I would say too, if you had told me freshman year that I would be on this like student panel, I totally wouldn't have believed you at all. Have always been like a shy person, and in these 4 years, like Amber was saying, like I can see myself how much I've evolved, and it definitely has to do with the people I found through organizations and the people just I met from like my dorm, people I had classes with. Like if you just are open to new interactions and new people in your life, they don't have to be friendships, new acquaintances, new staff members that are a familiar face that you want to reach out to, get to know more from. They all help you evolve into this new person that you become, that I think a lot of us look back at and are proud of like the movement we've done throughout the 4 years. And it's really awesome to be able to see that change and see that like college wasn't just about the academics, it was also about that like social evolution. So it's really awesome. Definitely get involved. I think it has a lot of benefits.
Awesome. Well, I just want to thank our student panelists. Thank you so much for all of your, answers and insights. And thank you to everyone who did attend. It was a great morning. I thought the questions were great. It was really fun. And just know that everything, all of the panels and webinars from Parents and Family Weekend have been recorded and will be available on the Quinnipiac YouTube later this week for people to look back. But I thank you again for spending your Sunday morning with us, and hope that your students get involved with our organizations. Thank you again for being with us. Make sure you check out the chat too. The students definitely put a bunch of their Instagram handles. We love when families follow. But thank you again so much for attending today.